Previously on Retro Games. Hello CMG. Still getting beasted by these retro games you like to call them? Wouldn't you rather learn a bit of Swedish instead?
Chris Marder 9? What are you doing here?
Well, wouldn't you like to know why I'm here? There's no love. No care. Not even the promise you made me 6 months ago. You have to play the games that I choose. Fine, where's this game? You think I'm just going to give it to you just like that? You got 2 legs, why don't you just go down there and go fetch it? You play the games that I want, at the time I give. Are we clear on that?
Who the hell gave you permission to tell me what to do anyway?
Are you questioning me? Now you listen to me very carefully. This is CMG Need to Know time. When you dance with the devil, you wait for the song to stop. Know what I mean? Yes! Get in there! I got play of the game. God, you should have seen me. Look at this. From me, playing as Soldier 76, I literally just obliterate everyone. Taking the payload, preventing it from going anywhere. Oh, look at me. I was just absolutely beasting that. I was just totally beasting it. Just look at me. Oh my god, I was just like the best player. 37 kills in the game. Oh my. Hello, Chris Marder Games.
Hello, boyo. Guess what? It's review time.
Shit.
Well. It's been a long time, hasn't it, CMG?
You've taken your time.
I've had things to do. Travelling to Sweden, learning a language, briefly talking to close friends that still mean a lot to me. But you wouldn't know anything about that, would you? Did you watch E3?
No, I didn't get the chance. Football occupied me.
Oh, well, that's a pity. Good news for you, though. I know your next game. I promise you, it's more fun than the last one. It's a classic. I saw it, and since you've not made a review in a while, I thought it'd be great for you to do one.
Oh, don't you worry. When you least expect it, I'll make you do one.
Well, that's not a nice way to treat your other side of you, is it? You seem to be doing that a lot lately. What with not even putting a single video on my channel for so long.
Will you just get to the point?
So I know where to find your next game. I guess you could say you can find it in more familiar grounds.
If you say you've buried it under my allotment, I will fucking kill you.
Now, you and I both know that won't happen anytime soon. I guess you have to find out where the game is for yourself. Just so you know, I am your own conscience, and I'm watching you all the time. So don't do anything funny. Well, time to go find your new game now. Goodbye.
I'm gonna kill that bastard. Tunnel B1. Didn't Scarfullu do a review of this? Oh well, it could have been worse. Well, here we go again, another fucking review. You know, you could have given me something like Super Mario, or Sonic, or any sort of game that people would know. But why this game? There's got to be some logic reason that I'm playing this game and nothing else. You could have given me any kind of game, but you've given me this. Guess we'll just have to find out for ourselves, won't we? Tunnel B1. Where do you even begin with this game? Would you straight up say this is a first-person shooter or a poor man's Shadow Master? Who knows? But this was a game developed by Neon Software back in 1996. It had two publishers, Ocean, who released it in the UK and Europe, whereas the US and America, it was released by Acclaim. It's unknown who released the game in Japan, however over there, the game had a different name.
3D mission shooting, Phyllis.
Yeah, pretty generic, but what do you expect in a country like Japan? Believe it or not, this game is one I've actually tried before on YouTube. I previously played it in one of many demo disc playthroughs that I did way back in 2011, albeit briefly since the demo ended quicker than I was able to think about what to do. I literally had no idea at the time. I was greeted to a low gravity first person sort of thing and I pressed willy-nilly on the controller, hoping I'd do something productive. However, nothing happened and I died, resulting in the end of the brief showing of the game. Now that I have the full version, it'll be a lot easier to go through the game and discover for myself what this game is really like. First of all, let me tell you this for true. If you lived in the UK or Europe and you owned this game, you got off lightly as far as the box art was concerned. It consists of this geezer here wearing some kind of gas mask. Is this the actual protagonist of the game? Who knows? However, if you lived in the US, you got greeted to this monstrosity. My god, just look at it. It's hideous. Who the fuck came up with this artwork? It almost looks like the inspiration given to the guys who came up with the promotional poster for the film Mirrors. Seriously, somebody tell me right now I'm the only person who sees a resemblance. And if you're still not convinced, just look at those fucking eyes. Ugh, I hate looking at eyes in horror films. The game's plot sounds pretty cliche if I'm being honest. It tells the story of a mentally deranged man who creates an Armageddon device. By using this, he intends to destroy all of mankind. It's up to you as the protagonist of the game, who is unknown, to climb aboard your hovercraft known simply as the B1, title reference, and single-handedly partake in a series of missions. These missions require you to venture through countless underground tunnels, which eventually will end up leading you to a final battle with this supposed madman, scientist, or whatever the fuck he is. There's an FNV presentation at the beginning of the game showing your ship being launched from your mothership, and then you look back from behind the ship to see it getting completely destroyed. This of course denotes how strong this supposed Armageddon device is, and what it can potentially do to humanity if something isn't done quickly. Huh. Well, that's fucking disappointing. So, now we move on to the nitty-gritty of this first-person platformer, the gameplay. What is it like, you ask? Well, let's venture through and discover. The first thing I notice when playing the game is that I'm given the primary objectives before I've even pressed a button. This is distinctively a rare case in video games of this sort. If anyone has played Colony Wars, you would have seen that the mission briefing is seen before you're put into the realms of gameplay, so you have time to read what you have to do before you actually go ahead and do it. I don't know what it is, but when I have to read objectives amidst right in the middle of the action, I feel some sense of dread. You never know what could happen. I could literally take my time reading something, suddenly I'm getting shot from behind by some daft idiot, and I'm dead faster than I died in the demo. Seems illogical. Then we move on to the control aspect, which brings me to a question I'd like to ask the people watching. Which button do you reckon moves the vehicle you're supposedly in? Up and down like in Shadow Master? What about X? Seems like a good shout since most car/vehicle games use the X button for acceleration purposes. Or maybe even R2 for fans of the Burnout series. Well, guess what? It's absolutely none of those. It's the fucking square button. Yeah, the one button in the controller you wouldn't expect to use to move forward. So this is like one of those games that completely reverses the controls and messes up with your mind, forcing you to go against what you've grown up with in the past. A bit like Super Mario on the Virtual Boy, where B is jump and A is used to perform actions, whereas most Mario games, it's the opposite. Moving in this game is just as debatable as it is confusing. What the hell am I driving here? Is this actually a vehicle? Or am I controlling the camera off of Lakitu's fishing rod that's accidentally been lowered down to the ground with no physical way of being able to reel it back up because the line is jammed? Oh, and did I mention that this camera has also been dipped into the blue levitational gel from Portal 2 because otherwise it wouldn't be able to consistently bounce off these narrow passageways on contact? Seriously, if we look at the cover art from the UK release of this game again, you can see why this sort of has a resemblance. This guy is going at high velocity and he's fucking terrified about it. Just as terrified as I am going down these tunnels at high speeds with the potential hazard of running into something explosive. Oh god, I don't know how to describe it, I'm just using my imagination at this point. Speaking of things that explode, the boxes you can see here actually contain the power-ups, which sounds innocent enough. You open the boxes and you collect them, like in other video games. However, there's a catch. You see that number on the top there? That's a counter. If that reaches 0, this power-up is gone, and all you're left with is a fire hazard that drains your life. What a fucking tease. So what, am I supposed to train my brain into thinking that every time I see a power-up I need, I have to collect it in the quickest possible time? It's bad enough that I have to race through these tunnels at high velocity. What makes you think I have the skills to pick things up quickly? The control is so goddamn awful, it almost makes it impossible to even do this easily. Another nitpick that confuses me about this game's presentation is the shooting mechanic. Not only is the machine gun fire extremely quiet, but why is it being shown at the top here where the HUD is? That's tacky game design. In any decent shooter I've played where you drive a ship or a vehicle, you're at least shown clear indication of where you're firing from, either from a ship or from a turret. I'm using Battlefield 3 here as an example of what I'm talking about. When I first played Tunnel B1, I didn't even know if I was shooting or not. I had to look around the screen to see exactly where I was firing. I don't even look at the HUD to start off with because that's the place where it's giving me information about my status. Yeah, it's important, but you're more focused on the shooting what's in front of you, rather than spending a few seconds looking at your health or your score. Anyway, the main objective to this game sounds simple enough. You have to go around exploring these long winding tunnels, destroying gun turrets and enemy ships along the way, while blowing up crates that reveal power-ups you need to progress. At times, this can be pretty fast paced and it can resemble good combat. However, when you look at the game in its entirety, it just looks uninspiring and dull. Ultimately, when the mission failed screen shows up, chances are players like me won't get too upset. All of these niggles I've mentioned in the game's functionality all blend together to make up quite a dysfunctional experience. For me, the most annoying out of all of them is the fact that the viewpoint, Lakitu's floating camera, is so low on the ground that even stationary enemies such as turrets can tower above you, making the ability to shoot at these things impossible at times. While seeing this, I tend to forget the whole idea of a video game is to allow you to have authority over the enemy, blasting your way through them as you progress, making gameplay satisfying and attractive. This is not attractive. Some people have said this game feels unfinished, and I can totally see what they mean. It's so uninspiring to the eye that even basic things such as exploration is a snooze. Other fundamental and inexcusable disasters include poorly displayed text messages and an incomprehensible female voice guide. Yeah, did I mention there being a female person guiding you around everywhere? This lady guiding you around the map, I have to be honest, did the game developers catch her on a really bad day or something? Because some of the dialogue she spews out sounds so depressing, as if doing the voiceover for this game was something she had to do in order to escape an asylum. Seriously, I've never thought the phrase, "cheer up love, it might never happen," would sound so relevant in a fucking game review. I feel like I need to give this lady a hug.
Actually, you know what? Scrap that idea right there and then. I've just found something about this lady I don't like.
If you want this lady to nag you constantly while you're playing this game, drag your health down low, sit back and have your ears raped. This lady has the balls to let you know that your energy is low, not just one time, but every fucking second.
Energy, low, extra, booster. Energy, low. Energy, low.
Now about the level design. This is something I haven't covered yet, and it's something worth addressing since this represents a lot of the game's visual variety. So, what variety do we have here? Well, how about a better sounding question? What variety? And the answer to that question is, there is none. Why? Because everything looks the damn same. That's why. Level design is paramount to a game's structure. You need the variety to prevent a game looking stale and outdated. It goes back to what I mentioned earlier about this game looking uninspiring and dull. Nobody wants to keep looking at the same level design over and over again. Otherwise, how is someone going to know if they're making any progress?
So, how do I sum up this game? Well, it's not a very good one at all. The game looks unfinished and uninspiring to the eye. The level progression and the visual variety is limited at best. The graphics look outdated, crude. The storyline seems too cliche if you can even call it a storyline. And the gameplay mechanics completely mess with your mind, forcing you to go completely against what you've already grown up with in video games. Do you know what? I just hate games that do that. Well, there you go. Here's another review done. I wonder what I have to do now. Probably kill myself. Actually, that's not a bad idea. At least I won't have to worry about Chris 9 anymore. Regardless, CM9 is still out there, haunting my soul. Unless I play the games he throws at me, he'll never leave. But one day, I'll find out the real truth behind this. Whatever it is, it has to be something to do with what happened in his life. But what does it have to do with me? I'm gonna get to the bottom of it. When he returns, I will be ready.